Tsukasa ends his briefing by revealing one of the kidnapped kids, it's his little sister, named Sayo. Wait, no. Wrong series. Yeah, the girl is the one we saw before being kidnapped, Yuma, instead of advising his involvement in closing the case. Thus, the team deploys to the third explorable region, Rage Cavern, to begin their search for the missing kids. Rage Cavern doesn't really have anything of note, just getting used to having Galmon in the party, and where you'll likely run into a lot of early game Digisoul evolutions. Don't worry, you don't need to stay in the forums to get to achieve the next in its line. As long as the specific Digimon has all the requirements met, it'll evolve automatically. Just make sure the timing for those changes isn't during a boss battle, as that can screw you over since you won't know what you'll change into until after the change. At the back of the cave, we find Belphemon Rage Mode? Wow. 2 of the Digimon Demon Lords. In this game. At the same time. You don't think... Yeah, Belphemon is surprisingly an easy boss. Not up to the expectations you'd have for facing a Demon Lord. As with all of their appearances in the Digimon media up until this point, they've almost always utterly wrecked the main cast. Be it Damon needing to be shoved into another dimension to deal with him, or Belphemon matched in strength by his ideological opposite in Gallantmon until, guilt hit him, or Lucimon being woken up after he literally ate a freaking planet. And yet we are beating him with champions.
Impossible! My powers! Can they be this weak?
Huh. Guess the game is smart enough to ask that for us. And the reason is, Belphemon was possessing one of the missing kids. Huh. Kinda works against the paradigm of biomerging, human spirit evolution users, and savors biohybrid evolution Digimon. But I get the idea it's forced possession, making them not able to manifest their full power. Plus, it leads to them all being a series of difficult extra bosses at the end of the game. On him is found a card relating to Belphemon's Sin, Sloth, which is then stolen by a very fast Biyomon, and his partner, Kosaburo Katsura, an original character made for this game because... I have no idea. I think the intent was they intended to make him extra canonical, with him being a private detective investigating the whole Digimon mess, assistant in how Yoshino has met him before. But how he got here is a big question, as DATS is the only working transporter between the worlds, and the random digital gates are, well, random. He flashbangs a lot and runs with the card, which I see happening a lot in the future. Waited back with the kid, only to get a cutscene of Damon over a massive seal emblazoned with a digital hazard, in a way that kind of reminds me of Wizardmon's magic glyphs. I see recycled design motifs in Toei's future. The digital hazard, if you're not that familiar with Digimon, isn't just something that just appears on Guilmon in his evolutions. It's, well, a warning sign indicating the potential for extreme danger, not unlike the biohazard symbol its design was based off of. In Guilmon's case, it's because of his eventual incarnation of Megidramon having the power to destroy the world. So yeah, seeing it on a magic seal like this, foreshadowing of all kinds of bad.
Dark area. A door. It's opening.
So they're summoning Dragomon then? After a quite dumbly presented flashback cutscene of a former DATS officer feeling anguish at having his Digimon attack a criminal he was fighting, Digimon have free will. If they knew the rules as well, they would have been able to say no. We are introduced to the 4th teammate for the game and normal canon character, Ikoto Noguchi, and his partner Falcomon. And I refer to him by his Japanese name, as his English dub name change was utterly asinine, them changing it to Keenan Crier. And when I originally heard about this, I was like, there's no way they were dumb enough to do that. Yeah, this is why I don't like name changing. You can rob someone of their dignity by doing that. Hell, his original name had a meaning of someone who flourishes in an open field, which matches his life of living in a wild world and thriving in it, whereas, well, Crier only has one interpretation. And to double down on that, they made the guy dressed in tribal-like attire, which came from him living in the digital world since he was an infant, thus needing to scrounge for clothing since every Digimon gets their clothing as part of their evolution system, have a speech impediment as if he was a caveman. You do realize he grew up in an environment where everybody speaks a clear and structured language that he would of course understand and learn to speak himself correctly, right? Removing such an issue, as he was actually raised by a Frigimon and a Marukimon who would have taught him how to talk. This is one of the things that really irritated me about what I saw of the dub. As well, I know this is sourced from inflection and dialect choices in Japanese, and Noguchi's use of a different I pronoun that is expected for use, as it more infers them growing up in the wild and being a rough and tumble individual. It's not something that translates since we don't have multiple words that mean I. And this is something that, like honorifics, that you can relate when spoken through differences in inflection than the Japanese characters themselves used. As otherwise Ikuto, I am not referring to him as Crier, speaks the given language perfectly, further showing how meaningless the continuance of using the particle wrong is, when you could just have had his voice actor Brian Siddall speaking the lines more gruffly, as that's how he was written as in the Japanese version. As Brian Siddall has done gruff masculine voices for young kids before in her career, which would have allowed her to more than do that. Even Tsukasa had her moments with that. Anyways, Ikuto now joins the party due to the threat of these Digimon being so great. And here's where we get another problem with the game. You can't really switch extra party members in battle, and as you've already been training your main team of 3, you really don't want to switch. Unlike other games, like say, Cyber Sleuth, where it's easy to train up anything you want, you're not exactly incentivized to switch to the other 3 party members you will get over the game. Agumon never leaves your party, Gelmon's speed and support skills are invaluable, and Lalamon's healing isn't matched well with her swapped out compatriots. Well, yes, through the 6 ones you get, you can become anything you encounter in the game, which is a good thing. Well, the extra time investment really doesn't seem worth it. Granted, you're not exactly stigmatized against them since they do gain experience even if they're not involved in combat, but that's part of the problem. They will always be weaker and less advanced in level, experience, and evolution than the main trio. It would have been worse had you needed to train them up from nothing, mind you, but they still start pretty much at the bottom, while you've already started journeying up the mountain to max level. The next area is the Mirage Museum.
What's a museum doing here in the middle of the digital world?
Well, clearly it's where cultured snobs put all the corpses of dinosaur Digimon they've killed. As we progress through this museum, however, the group begins to speculate on how they keep encountering demon lore.
Kagura, are you referring to a Mao-type Digimon?
Excuse me? You're not referring to Mao Ichimichi by any chance, are you?
Mao? What's that?
You're seriously doing this!
There are 4 stages. In training, rookie, champion, and ultimate.
And baby, and mega, and armor, and spirit, at the times of this game's make, so we don't need to get into cross levels or the whole Appmon grade system. And no, you can't call this a caused by the original Japanese thing. The Japanese rookie through mega, which can be accessed in this game, are child, adult, perfect, and ultimate. Again, simple Google search, even at the time this game was being translated. As for Mao Digimon, that is the actors mispronouncing a mistranslated and also untranslated word, as the word is actually Ma-O. Ma-O. Or, if you were to actually translate it, you would get 2 phrases that pretty much mean the same thing. Demon King, or more properly in this context of the franchise, Demon Lord. As remember, this entire game is about the dad's team fighting and trying to stop the machinations of the Digimon franchise's Demon Lord Digimon, an event fans of the franchise had been wanting to see since the last of them had been revealed in supplementary material as early as, I believe to be 2005. Even before this game was released, the Demon Lord Digimon class had already been defined thanks to the anime's import and the presence in the series of Damon, Belphemon, and Lucemon, along with that phrase being used in Digimon World's DS and was used in Dusk and Dawn as well, which released alongside this game. This was already present, officially translated lore that Saban, Disney, and Bandai of America had approved of and signed off on previously, meaning there was no reason to change it and hide the fact that these Digimon were explicitly demons, as it had already passed every single American censorship standard by making it into the broadcast dubs of the anime, which were very anal over making the stories not flag as overzealous pandering to the demographic censors to get the TV Y7 rating they wanted, and in official material released by the companies on the bios of those Digimon. As it doesn't apply for retaining some type of cultural context, sounds cooler, or the word doesn't properly translate, which are usually the understandable reasons to leave such a word alone, and why I don't stigmatize the subtitle makers which do that. No, this is a case where it hides a fact that informs the story's narrative solely because of either 1. Unnecessary censorship, since this game was rated to match the intended demographic of Digimon Saber's audience. This game is rated E10+, so it would have had even more leeway than the broadcast dubs would have had. Or 2, it was simply rote incompetence. Which again ties back to this game being localized by Axis GL, and they are freaking terrible at this. Except the stupidity of it is almost immediately given away. All of the demon lords hold keycards relating to the 7 sins of man, and those pass on straight through. So all of the great evils of the world are fine, as are children succumbing to those sins, but not mentioning that becoming slave to the temptation of those sins can turn anyone evil, as is the context from the Demon Lord Digimon possessing those kids?
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Now, as I have discussed in the past, when you're doing a fully voiced dub localization, you need some wiggle room for changes as opposed to trying to be as accurate to the source material as you can, as straight translated dialogue doesn't always sound right when spoken as opposed to it being read. I get that. And in the competently executed ones, they're still capturing the correct intent. Unnecessary changes, however, hurt the final product as you can end up lying to an audience or leading them to entirely misunderstand the series. It is why my biggest translation pet peeve tends to be term or dialogue substitution, when either what they were changing meant something entirely different than what they changed it to, or what they changed wasn't something that translated that way, and that substitution in no way captured the intent, thus acts as a lie, changing how a series reads. This exact issue was the basis behind my rant about how awful Cybersleuth's translation was. Specifically, the whole Digifuse substituted in for a word literally meaning combined thing. Combine is a general term, while Digifuse was referring to a specific type of combination. A term specifying one single thing is not equivalent to a more generalized term, especially in a series where there has been featured numerous differing types of fusions, which all have specific differing names to describe them. Referring to what was occurring as Digifuse was wrong, because they were not undergoing the process that Digifused is used as a label for. Thus, that substitution was in violation of both the context of the scene and series, but also rules behind the process of translation. And as I've gone over in my Yu-Gi-Oh! Reviews, substituting names and dialogue away from what they actually meant and represented is one of the biggest sins of 4Kids and 4K media, and more recently Saban Entertainment, with what they imported, as they would change what they wanted, when they wanted, and the story, characters, and success of those series would only be harmed as a result. I'm also tempted to eventually rant on how Funimation changing Makai Priest to Makai Alchemist in their dub of the Garo anime, and also the subs of the Garo anime, was really stupid and harmed the reading of those series as well, especially since the Kraken releases did not make that mistake. And hell, professionals have said you're supposed to stay as accurate to the source material as possible while trying to make it understandable in another language for just this reason of destroying the intents in the work the farther you go off from what was said in the original transcripts. However, much like my previously presented irritation at the translation failings of Shout Factory Super Sentai DVD sets, this is not in any way applied to the translation failures in this game, because 1. All but one thing they fail to translate does translate. Easily. So you don't even need to entertain term substitution or heavily localization to get a purportedly working or equivalent anachronism in there in its place. And 2, every term they screw up already had official translations for them readily available. The whole Mao Demon Lord thing is essentially this game's microcosm for translation failure, and they never catch on. Anyways, Barbamon can be found on the right side of the museum, but requires you to disable barriers needed to get to him by first finding a switch by heading north and searching the rooms there, with a second one on the far right by a second barrier, though as we reach Belphemon, we are shown an image of I still can't pronounce that word, and Yuma, who is possessed by the sin of lust, and Lilithmon.
If I was Kagura, I'd be so worried I couldn't sleep at night.
Phrasing! Anyways, Barbamon. I didn't have a hard time with him, as by this point I was starting to get ultimates in the Digisoul system, and I had purchased some Virus Buster enchant items from the game's shop, which as I said is the alignment that Demon Lords are weak to. Stacking up on these makes most boss battles easier, but can end up taking up a needed turn if you're not careful or high enough yet. With Barbamon defeated, the same thing as before happens. The kid mumbles in his sleep something related to the Demon Lord's sin, and Kosabura and Belphemon show up to steal the keycard. There's a shift in the status quo, however, as the next chapter of the game, since it's going to be focused on Yuma, on exploring her backstory. The girl bullied for talking to monsters because of her Digimon partner Renamon, this one identifying as a male despite still being voiced by Mari Devon, being around her. If memory serves, even in Data Squad, Digimon weren't exactly ubiquitous, and little kids can be freaking terrible people. And stupid, too. As, if she could talk to monsters, wouldn't she have her monster attack them? It would make more sense if she was taunted for believing in monsters than talking to them, but that's not what the dialogue says here. This was not helped by Tsukasa, nor her parents, as her parents are, as is far too common in Japanese series, dead. So Tsukasa didn't exactly know about Renamon being around. It seems kind of shallow reason for isolation though, but it's something. With Tsukasa quickly backtracing the data on the visual they recorded to the island whose name I can't pronounce, so they could go save her. On said island, which surprisingly has a variety of dragon Digimon on it, we find Yuma's Renamon, in really bad shape. She's the one who managed to send the message to them as a cry for help, as she tried fighting off Lilithmon to save Yuma, only to fail horribly. Additionally revealing all of the kids are being used as batteries for the Demon Lord's rebirth, sucking out their life force by drawing out the darkest emotions they align to. Avatars of concepts manifesting from emotionally compromised hosts, some with reportedly traumatizing backstories. Where have I heard this before? Back on the island, you can find Pandamon, who is a retailer with a variety of higher-tiered recovery items for sale. But the upper echelons of the island where Lilithmon is sequestered is locked by a fucking box puzzle that you cannot figure out without garbage the clue about opening it is translated in this game. And every play guide I have found on this game says red, blue, green is the combo that gets it to work, and that's even Pandamon's clue. But the problem about that is, every guide that explains this on the internet, they are all completely wrong. It is related to the order of Digimon in your party, yellow for Agumon, pink for Lalamon, and blue for Galmon, and the others relating to the other party members you can get. Each cube needs to match with the position of them at the bottom of the inner menu for the barrier to drop. In-game, this puzzle is incomprehensible due to its awful localization. Change the colors to the matching positions of the Digimon in your party, and it will let you up to Lilithmon. However, configure the box colors to red, yellow, green, and you'll open a transporter down to the waterfront, and another of the game's secret bosses, Darkdramon. Do not fight Darkdramon now, though. He will crush you. With darkness beyond twilight. Anyways, on to Lilithmon.
And one silly little girl. What did you say? You're like fruit just ripe for the picking. I'll just simply suck the life right out of you.
What, did you expect anything less? Demon Lady of Lust? But as by this point I've gotten Agumon to evolve into Rise Greymon, the most badass of cyborg dragons, this is once more a pretty easy bout.
Try to revolver!
Impossible! Is this what they call unconditional love?
Yeah, these ending lines don't make any sense. I could just make a localization failure counter, but we would literally be here all day. With that, Yuma is freed and reunited with Renamon, though shows no sign of the lingering sin which allowed the Demon Lord to manifest. Odd, but knowing Japan, had they actually shown that, it'd have probably been directed to either a brother complex or bestiality, both of which involve nothing but squick. Still, she's reassured and finds confidence in herself from finding others have bonded with partners like herself, though there's something odd about her reaction when we mention her brother. Kosaburo diving in steals another keycard, only for Galmon to sock it to him.
Only a fool would get taken by you a third time. Hey, did you just make fun of me again?
Yes, please stop that. He's not been shown to deserve it within this game. Again, I have not seen enough of Sabers to know if he deserves it in the main series, but the joke isn't justified here. Thomas demands the other keycards back, Kosaburo refusing, likely because he doesn't have them anymore, prepping for fights, with Renamon using the last of his powers to restore the team to a fighting shape. Of course, a PI is in no shape to face our team together, and flees again with another flash bomb. Gee, didn't plan for that now, did you, Mr. Super Genius?
That wasn't good enough, Yoshino. That's why you let your boyfriends get away too.
Bye-bye! What do you know? Stop mocking me!
Tsukasa dives in, reuniting with his sister, and taking the key code for Lust for safekeeping, and agreeing to bring Renamon back to base for recovery in honor of his role in saving them. After which, we get a cutscene of Kosaburo contacting his benefactor.
Do you have the item?
Oh, come on! You're not even being subtle with that silhouette! Yeah, it's Kosaburo's payday, turning over the key cards before he's attacked by Damon. The team regroups at the base, Tsukasa blaming the resurgence of the Demon Lords in the Dark Area on human negativity. Great! So now they gotta worry about cutting out their Inga. Guess we need some Royal Knights. Where are the Royal Knights? They're usually showcased to be the antagonists of the Demon Lords. The negativity, through the Seven Sins, have pretty much acted as a conduit to the Dark Area's power, the Demon Lords manifesting as a result, but kids being taken as their hosts? Something's odd about that. Though that's mainly because I'm used to the Garo series and adults being possessed by horrors. The next area, the Digital Dungeon, my god that name is horrible considering nearly every region is the Digital Dungeon, opens as DATS detects another data surge that's presumably a Demon Lord, and the naming issue isn't held for this place looking practically the same as the Mirage Museum. Head north, then all the way east, then all the way south to get to the boss. This area once more locked by a variety of barriers, but at least this time the locks are all in the same areas as the barriers. And this time we're facing off with... Okay, that was badass. A badass entrance befitting the badass biker Digimon Demon Lord of Gluttony and badassness. I freaking love Tamers originating Digimon.
Filthy humans, you've come a long way just to get your butts kicked.
Oh, come on! What's the worst that could happen?
Digisoul charge!
Oh god, this will not end well. And yes, this is not a bit I'm making up. That actually happened! Actually, no. Part of the issue with the evolution system in this game is, with the prerequisites, you can unlock multiple forms in a row. So sometimes you just need to run through them rapidly in sequence. So thankfully, one of the most traumatic scenes in a Toei anime, at least one not adapted from a Shonen Jump manga, doesn't repeat itself. This time. And we get Mach Galgamon out of it for supersonic fists hitting you with rocket boosted speed.
You guys are cool.
With this kid saved, there's only one left missing. Tsukasa presuming the next one will be the last one, as Yoshino flashes back to a scene with the daughter of Nita, the subordinate from earlier that went MIA, with Yoshino showing concern over that continuing situation. Unfortunately, the following region, the Sea Precipice, is easily the worst region. Seriously, this place is fucking terrible to navigate, it being a multi-tiered platform puzzle with multiple regions that get locked off as you change the layouts to advance to the next floor. And to make it worse, its size means you will constantly encounter other Digimon, which have suddenly gotten massively stronger than the previous regions, before reaching the various platforms and landmarks. Meaning if you're not keeping track of where you're going or what order in the platform change operation you are doing, it's easy to forget and mess up. I had to restart this damn thing 3 times as I kept forgetting what I was doing after a particularly long battle. The only thing I can say in its favor is it's good for grinding, but by the fact that I was facing everything as ultimates already, and the only way I could advance anything next was fighting mega levels, yeah, not that useful a place to go. It's even worse trying to find Yushima in this place, as you've got to battle him here too, and preferably before you lock off the region where he spawns. Predictably, the Digimon here is...
A gator!
As someone who's been in a situation where an ambush predator has threatened my life, thanks Mom for insisting on vacationing in frickin' Florida, you don't want to be near those jaws. The partners squabble over Agumon trying to talk Leviathan down because they're both lizards from the Cretaceous, and it goes badly, leading back to the boss battle with the Demon Lord of Envy. It eventually releases the last kid and last key card, Tsukasa showing up to take it into custody.
Hey, wait a minute.
Kasaburo!
Hey now, I'm not here to cause trouble. I've been double-crossed by my client. Isn't that right, Kabura?
And then provides the evidence of having placed tracers on the keycards he sent to his boss, before Damon went after him, which is pretty conclusive. Oh look! The obviously evil guy is evil! See, there you go. Told you I was saving it. I mean, yeah, there weren't that many overt clues to this, so it is meant to be a big, mature twist. The problem is, he was giving off the Sakaki vibe throughout the entire game.
The Lord of Darkness is frozen in the dark area. The most powerful Digimon ever! I intend to unlock the seal to the Chomao Digimon!
Chomao? Really? Really? And for that matter, what are you even trying to awaken? There are 2 Super Demon Lords. Oguromon, the Beast of Revelation, hadn't been made for the series yet, and Lucemon Shadow Lord mode doesn't manifest by default. It always has to evolve from Lucemon Chaos mode, and Lucemon in either his Angel form or Chaos mode is not a Super Demon Lord.
There's no reason for me to explain myself anymore. You're all going to die here!
Yeah, you sent a Devimon and 2 Demi-Devimon after me. That's a big fat no. But it does the job of distracting them long enough for Tsukasa to escape and Kosaburo to collapse from his wounds delivered by Damon, preventing them from trying to follow him and allow Tsukasa to plug in the 5 keycards he has.
With the Chomao Digimon serving me, I'll be the greatest Digimon tamer of all time!
That's your motivation? My god, that's petty. Also,
now, the real world is being ruled by the online world! My rule will spread quickly across the real world, eventually allowing me to control people's very hearts!
see? It's freaking uncanny!
As expected, a dump.
Yes, but it is my dump.
How did you?
3 years. I've expected you and your boss to do this thing again for 3 years. You think I wouldn't be coming up with ways to stop this after the last time? Or figure out how to delay you until I did?
You fixed the negator.
Yep. Should have done so before. That'd be a reason why your boss had you smash it.
And yet it let me in.
Or maybe I'm doing it on purpose and I'm distracting you so he can shoot you. Hi there.
Gun. Pose.
Oh, note to self for next time. Do that first, as it works so well.